For many years, the Beckham family was seen as one of the most stable and controlled celebrity families in the world. David Beckham built his name through discipline, consistency, and success in professional football. Victoria Beckham moved from pop stardom into fashion and became a serious business figure. Together, they created more than a household. They created a brand that stood for success, order, and control in an industry known for chaos. Their children were part of this image from a very early age. Publicly, they were presented as beneficiaries of a carefully structured family life. They appeared in interviews, advertising campaigns, documentaries, and social media posts that showed a united household navigating fame responsibly. Brooklyn Beckham, as the eldest child, became the most visible part of that presentation. His life was documented from childhood, and his image became closely linked to the family's public identity.
As he grew older, Brooklyn was increasingly positioned not just as David and Victoria's son, but as a public figure in his own right. His career attempts were followed closely. His interests in photography, modeling, and later cooking were supported by access to industry professionals, media attention, and brand visibility. To the public, these opportunities looked like natural advantages that came with growing up in a powerful family. Few people questioned what expectations came with that access or how much independence he actually had. When Brooklyn began dating Nicola Peltz, public reaction was mostly positive. Nicola came from a wealthy and influential family of her own, and the relationship was framed as a natural pairing within elite celebrity culture. Their engagement and wedding in 2022 were covered extensively by the media. The event was presented as elegant and unified. Magazine spreads, official photographs, and press coverage reinforced the idea that the Beckham family remained solid and supportive. At the same time, small signs of tension began to appear. There were moments when Victoria Beckham was noticeably absent from wedding preparations. Rumors surfaced about disagreements over the wedding dress. Reports suggested tension between Victoria and Nicola. These stories were largely dismissed as normal in-law issues exaggerated by tabloids. No one involved offered clear explanations, and the public assumed the situation would resolve itself. After the wedding, subtle changes became more noticeable. Brooklyn appeared less often in family-related projects and public posts. He was no longer a regular presence in Beckham campaigns or shared appearances. His professional work began to stand apart from the Beckham brand. Meanwhile, his connection to Nicola's family became more visible. He spent more time in the United States, attended events with the Peltz family, and appeared less connected to his parents' public world. Despite these changes, there was still no public explanation. Most observers assumed the family was adjusting to adulthood, marriage, distance, and changing priorities. That assumption remained in place until early 2026. On January 19, 2026, Brooklyn released a long statement on Instagram that directly addressed his relationship with his parents for the first time. The post was not emotional or confrontational. It was written calmly and in detail. It did not read like a typical celebrity complaint. Instead, it presented his experience as a personal account of growing up inside a family that functioned as both a household and a business. Brooklyn described his upbringing as materially privileged but emotionally limited. He explained that privacy was rare and that personal moments were often treated as public assets. According to him, birthdays, relationships, career decisions, and even emotional experiences were shaped by how they would appear publicly. He suggested that love and support were often shown through public gestures rather than private emotional connection. Importantly, Brooklyn did not accuse his parents of abuse or neglect. He did not claim they intentionally harmed him. Instead, he focused on the structure of the family system. He described approval as something tied to participation in the family's public image. According to his account, independence was allowed only if it did not interfere with branding or business interests. Throughout the statement, Brooklyn acknowledged the opportunities he had been given. He expressed gratitude for the resources and exposure his parents provided. He recognized the work they did to build their legacy. At the same time, he explained how those same systems made it difficult for him to develop autonomy. Brooklyn identified his relationship with Nicola as a major turning point. He said that for the first time, he formed a deep emotional connection that existed outside the Beckham brand. According to him, this independence was not seen as growth, but as a threat to the existing structure. He suggested that once his personal life could no longer be managed or controlled, tension increased. Later in the statement, Brooklyn addressed the issue that he said caused the final break. In the months leading up to his wedding in 2022, He alleged that his parents pressured him to sign legal agreements related to his name, image, and identity. According to Brooklyn, these agreements would have limited his control over how his surname and public image could be used in future business ventures. He stated that the pressure increased as the wedding approached. He believed the urgency came from concerns that marriage would complicate ownership and control if agreements were not finalized beforehand. Brooklyn said he refused to sign the documents. According to his account, that refusal changed everything. He said communication with his parents became formal and distant. Emotional warmth disappeared. Conversations were handled through advisors and legal language instead of personal discussion. He described feeling as though he had shifted from being a son to being treated as a risk to the family business. No legal documents have been publicly released to confirm the agreements Brooklyn described. However, several media outlets noted that his claims were consistent with long-standing reports about strict brand control within the Beckham family. Brooklyn then described events surrounding the wedding itself. He confirmed that Victoria Beckham withdrew from designing Nicola's wedding dress shortly before the ceremony. At the time, this was reported as a creative disagreement. Brooklyn described it as a deliberate decision that caused stress and damage to relationships. He said Nicola was forced to find alternatives at the last minute.
The most personal allegation involved the couple's first dance. Brooklyn said he and Nicola had planned a private moment set to an Elvis Presley song. According to him, that plan was interrupted when Mark Anthony invited Victoria Beckham onto the stage during the reception. Brooklyn described dancing with his mother in front of hundreds of guests as deeply uncomfortable and humiliating. He said the moment took attention away from what was meant to be an intimate experience between him and his wife. He added that he later asked for footage of that moment not to be released. This claim was supported by reporting that confirmed he had requested privacy around that part of the event. According to Brooklyn, the situation worsened after the wedding. He said disagreements over seating arrangements, household staff, and guest lists were treated as personal betrayals. He claimed that during one argument, Victoria called him evil, a word he said permanently changed how he viewed his relationship with his parents. He also stated that Nicola was increasingly treated as an outsider. According to Brooklyn, she was excluded from family gatherings and described as not blood. He said this reinforced his belief that loyalty to the family brand mattered more than personal relationships. Brooklyn explained that attempts to repair the relationship came with conditions. He said reconciliation required public participation, such as appearing in campaigns, attending televised events, and supporting the family image. When he refused to participate without Nicola, he claimed access to his family was cut off. He pointed to David Beckham's 50th birthday celebration in 2025 as a key moment. According to Brooklyn, Nicola was not invited. He traveled to London hoping to speak privately with his father, but said he waited in a hotel room for days without contact. The only interaction offered, he claimed, was attending a public event without his wife, which he declined. In August 2025, Brooklyn and Nicola held a private vow renewal ceremony at the Peltz family estate in New York. None of Brooklyn's immediate family attended. The event was not publicly announced at the time. Brooklyn described it as a conscious decision to reaffirm their marriage away from outside influence. After Brooklyn's statement was posted, reaction was immediate. David Beckham addressed the situation indirectly the next day while speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He spoke generally about children, social media, and emotional maturity, but did not respond to specific allegations. Brooklyn had anticipated this response in his statement, describing similar reactions as dismissive.
Public opinion was divided. Some people criticized Brooklyn for sharing private family matters publicly. Others noted how restrained his language was and how carefully he avoided personal attacks. Former Beckham associates, including Rebecca Luce, publicly supported Brooklyn and described the family environment as controlling. Brooklyn did not threaten legal action. He did not ask for reconciliation. He described his decision as final and focused on personal well-being. He said distancing himself from his family had brought peace and emotional stability. He emphasized relief rather than anger. At this time, there is no sign of legal action from either side. The separation appears emotional rather than judicial. There are no public attempts at mediation or reconciliation. What makes this situation unusual is not the fame involved, but the structure of the conflict. This is not about one argument or one wedding dispute. It is about long-term tension between personal autonomy and a family system that also functions as a business. Brooklyn's account reframes the Beckham household as an organization where emotional relationships and branding are deeply connected. His central claim is not that his parents acted with cruelty, but that the system they created could not accommodate independence. Whether reconciliation is possible remains unclear. Brooklyn's statement focused on boundaries rather than blame. For now, the separation appears deliberate and sustained. What remains unresolved is whether the family will address the substance of his claims or continue to treat the situation as a misunderstanding. Until then, the break remains intentional, documented, and ongoing.